Hello, everybody, and welcome to the quarterfinals of the Adamant Cup. This is the round of 8, and we have an exciting match to bring you today between Possumorpheus and Wewbear. My name is Rex Raoul. I'm joined in the booth by our tracker, John Burkhead, our restreamer, Ali, and in the booth with JMac. JMac, this should be a fun race tonight, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. Possum and Wewbear have a mentor-mentee relationship. Wewbear was the person that Possum learned free enterprise from, and now he's, a very successful runner in our past tournaments. So this is setting up to be a really fantastic race for us tonight.
Yeah, both runners with a very long pedigree of success in competitive free enterprise, and it's going to be a real thrill to see how they tackle this tonight. And it looks like we're giving them that Eddie start.
Of course we are, because who doesn't love an Eddie start?
Yeah, I know. Like he is very squishy. He has some uses, of course. His hide command is known to be busted in certain situations. We do give him access to the spoon in this event, but yeah, he's still not probably one that people are like feeling real confident. Like, yeah, I got this when you see his sprite light up next to new game.
Yes. Now, what will be very great is if he does come with that wonderful dancing dagger.
Yeah,
At least that could be a useful item for someone else.
I will say, taking a look at these objectives that we can see on Wewbear's screen right there, it does look like that we've got some things that may lead us to believe that this might be a bit of a long seed. We've got things like complete the Giant of Babil and have Coco forge the legend and the adamant together. Those, whenever I see those objectives, I think it might be long.
Yes, we are going to go all over the place, but that is pretty common at this point with these bracket seeds, especially with 7 objectives to complete. But yeah, having to do the giant, having to get that forge, we've got a lot of key items that we're going to be looking for in order to complete the seed and head to Z.
Yeah, it looks like we'll need the tower key. We're going to need the Baron key. We're going to need the darkness crystal. We're going to need the package. We're going to need the rat tail. We're going to need the hook. We're going to need the legend sword. We're going to need the adamant armor. That is a lot. Well, not the adamant rock. You don't need the adamant armor, but it doesn't hurt.
I mean, yeah, but if you get a spoon, then you definitely need the adamant armor.
You know, knowing these two runners, I wouldn't be too shocked if they'd rather get an edge and be able to dart a spoon than have Edward equip it.
That is true. We will see in just a minute who our starting partner for Edward is going to be and kind of see where the beginning strategies are going to be.
Right, and I think finding something like that dancing dagger that you mentioned is going to be really important, especially if Edward is paired up with a kind of a weaker character, like somebody who's close to his power level at the beginning. Even someone like a Yang, who's thought of as like a really strong physical character, is very weak right at the beginning, and so finding some way to get through the early game could prove to be difficult unless they're able to find the right loot or the right shot.
Now, Rex, I know that you've played a couple of these bracket seeds. What are you doing first in the first couple minutes?
Well, I mean, it kind of depends on what the first key item is, but most of the time I head right over to Toria to see what the key item that is in Bedward's hands is. And then based on that, if I get a really early magma key off one of those two starting things, I zip underground as quickly as possible. But if not, then probably someplace like the Evelyn Castle or the Waterway to get some money in my coffers and hopefully get some good items to start with.
Yes. Sorry, I got very distracted by Possum's naming scheme right now.
It's very sweet.
And it looks like our Edward is paired with a Palom.
Yeah, and given the Legend Sword, which is one of the many key items that are required, and getting a head start on the Forge objective, I think, always feels good, since those are items that don't do anything else, but you just need to find them.
Yes, this is very true. I have a feeling that Wewbear is going to head straight to Troya if I know anything about his play style over this tournament.
Yeah, that's the thing. By this time, all of the runners have had lots of races, and so they kind of like they might have patterns that they like to do, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's something where you can feel comfortable getting into the rhythm of a race right at the beginning.
Yes, and even though early games tend to look very similar, these early game strategies kind of really set up the middle and late game runs for our runners.
That sand ruby that Bedward just gave Wewbear is potentially a really nice item, depending on if Wewbear wants to make a trip over to Toria, or excuse me, over to Kaipo. You can get a little bit of shopping done there if you like, but more importantly, access to a character that might have a little bit more power right off the bat to get through the first boss. And it looks like it's a routing or a looting of the small treasury here.
Yes, we do pick up a grimoire, a mute bell, a couple of really good J items that could be very useful for those early game bosses, especially on Mount Hobbs for that character check as well. But I'll be really interested to see what the Sand Ruby character is going to be, because that's not a key item that you find early all the time. So that opens up a couple of character checks right off the bat.
I think it's really interesting because so much of the early routing is dependent on you're limited to these two starting characters, and opening up a third character really changes the beginning of the seed. So that's going to be really fun to watch. Looks like it's a good thing. Possum's internet seems to be a little bit better now. We've got him started up. I see our restreamer Ali saying if it's a close rate, we'll check everything. So yeah, but it's good to see him going. We've got a race on very early. We've got a lot of free enterprise to bring in tonight.
Yes. So I do think that it's interesting. I know that in the early game, there's a lot of different looting options, but I haven't really seen too much looting of the watery pass on this particular flag set. So it's interesting to see that Sand Ruby kind of direct woo early on to the watery pass.
Yeah, exactly. That might have been an audible thinking, like normally you might go to some place like Evelyn, but now if I want to stop in Kaipo anyways, here's another place where I can loot that's right nearby. So I think that's the sort of heads up play that you're going to see from runners in the top 8.
Oh, yeah. Oh, good grief. What a seed.
Yeah, that was a duplicate bard, and Wewbear no interest in a second Spoony bard. Hits the reset button and continues the loot, this time the back of the watery pass here.
Yes, this is one of those higher rated, not rated, what am I trying to say? Ranked, weighted, that's the word, y'all. One of those higher weighted locations, so you can try and get some really good higher tier items from that spot in particular. Although I didn't really see that much to like cheer about.
Well, it looks like Possum is going to wake up the second Edward, so we've got some divergence in strategies already, with Wu having no interest in the second bard, and Possum says, well, it's better than nothing, so here we go. Ooh, curse ring found in the Damsian basement by Wewbear. Nice little pickup there.
Yes, that is definitely something that you like to have in your back pocket, especially if you end up with a lot of mages, as these flags kind of tend to lean towards in this bracket stage.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot more mages, especially compared to the group stages where we saw a lot of Cecil hitting things with sticks. But no Cecil in the brackets.
No, he took a vacation.
Well deserved. He did a lot of work in the group stages.
All right, so we are about to see where Wewbear's going to go. He is going to go and spy that character on Hobbs after not taking that early third character from the Sand Ruby. Not blaming him at all, because 2 Edwards is not the ideal party. That's for sure.
Look at Possumorpheus walk right into Mist, go straight to the weapon shop, sees the dancing daggers for sale, immediately buys the two. Like, I wish I had that luck.
Well, that is a vanilla item in that weapon
That's
shop.
true. It's true. I do that when I play casually. I make the walk from Baron to Mist to get that dancing dagger.
Uh,
And Rosa, the character on Mount Hobbs, very nice character to add to the party. Always good to have a white mage. Rosa has really good HP growth too, so she can be used as an archer for some damage early in the game as well. So, like, a lot of upside in finding Rosa on the top of Mount Hobbs.
yes, and this party is slowly starting to shape up into potentially being a mage party.
Yeah, these dancing daggers are going to do a lot more work on Mom Bomb for Possum than Wewbear without them. So that little side trek onto Mist already paying off.
We do get that explode phase on Wewbear's side. The good thing is that these bombs don't hurt quite as much in the vanilla location as they would in other spots.
That is true, but using the big bomb to take out the Ring of Six, Wewbear is through, gets the level 2 magic on Palom, so now we're going to have some decent damage no matter what going forward, despite the lack of the dancing daggers.
I do like this play, heading straight to Fabul, kind of fading that early Antlion check right now. Trying to use those levels on Palom to get even more levels with this high XP boss spot on the Earth.
Yeah, I think it's both of the runners are making a good play here. Possum going to Antlion, Wewbear to Fabul, because when you do Fabul, you get a free heal going in and going out, and those bombs did a lot more damage to Wu's party, so Wu could use that heal at this more than Possum needs it. So saving that Fabul check until you need a heal is sometimes a really heads up move. So if you don't need it right now, then do Antlion, do Ordeals or something, and then when you do need the heal, you can always go back to Fabul and get that, and it doesn't take like even a tent takes more time.
That is extremely true. I have also used that strategy on a couple of occasions.
And
We do find the Demas down in Antlion.
Yeah, the Demas, but not a double play in this event because, as we saw our runners go over to Edward in Toria at the beginning, there's no extra free item for finding Demas. It's just kind of nice to find it here at the bottom of Antlion. It can be a really annoying boss, but it's got a lot of HP and a lot of strength.
That is so true. Meanwhile, in Fabul, we see our Plague. Plague is one of those fights that, a lot of times is free, but sometimes in the early game, he is much more difficult to defeat because he's much quicker than you expect him to be.
And it isn't always as much how fast Plague is, but how fast that count actually counts down. And here we see Wewbear struggling to keep this fight going, like is able to keep going, but is not putting out a ton of damage, or at least the damage is coming slowly. I think he should be able to get this done. It might not be as quickly as he'd like it to be.
Well, we've got the puns going on in chat right now. Did Antlion pan out? Why, yes, it did.
Ooh, unfortunate wipe to Plague by Wewbear there. Lacking a little bit of that extra damage makes that a very difficult boss. It's kind of a sneaky difficult in that spot, I'd say.
Yes, for sure. I can't say that, I have also wiped a Plague here. It should be much easier just in terms of strategy, but sometimes these early spots, like I said, are just a wee bit trickier than you'd want, especially when you don't have a full party.
And the added firepower of those dancing daggers on Possumorpheus' side, I think is going to again be the factor of like this is going to be a lot easier of a fight to do the amount of damage in the allotted time before that countdown comes down. It's just going to be that much easier for Possum than it was for Woo. Just relying on Rosa's, like she has pretty low tier equipment right now, and the Ice 2 from Palom just wasn't enough.
Yes, it's very funny how those dancing daggers, especially with lower powered parties, really help kind of get out that early game DPS.
For sure. And Possumorpheus able to defeat that plague and gets rewarded with the pass. So we've got the shortcut to Zeramus once the end of the seed comes around, but we're a long ways from that now. It's just good peace of mind to have that in your inventory.
Yes, we do see both of our runners having bought cabins. Cabins are that item that you like to buy because you don't buy them early game and then you get up to the moon and forget you have no way of healing when you're on the LST. So that's always something that our runners are looking for, even if they're not like actively searching for them.
And even if you're healing with like Rosa, she might have a lot of MP, but if you're using Cure Force to heal people, that MP runs out real fast too. So yeah, you need having some camping gear is another thing that's really going to make the rest of the seed quite a bit easier.
Meanwhile, Wewbear has also received his pan from the Antlion Cave and will be walking out and, well, more than likely head back to try and take on that plague. Or he too might turn to ordeals and try and get his XP on Palom that way.
And we see Kainatso in the first battle here on Mount Ordeals. Again, it's one that could be a little bit tricky since the damage that it does isn't based on the stats of the strength stat or anything, but based on its HP. However, since the HP is going to go down pretty fast due to all the firepower the Possum has, it shouldn't be too much of a tough fight. It might be a little bit trickier for Wewbear, but with these extra levels that Palom is getting, I think even that's going to make it so he should be able to get through without too much difficulty.
Yes, and we do have a question in chat about the dupe glitch. The dupe glitch is active in free enterprise, just not for this tournament. And in fact, most of our glitches, including our most recent update, put the back row glitch. The back row glitch is not on in these flag set for brackets, which is proving to add a little more difficulty in terms of party makeup as well as placement.
Possum easily dispatches Kainatso, and the second fight is a blue robe, and it is the Water Hag. So not going to be a very difficult Mount Ordeals today.
No. But that does mean that the next blue robe we see will be our most favorite alt gauntlet.
Absolutely. But the Water Hag, just 3 hits and it goes down. Not too bad. Meanwhile, Wu in this round 2 against this plague.
All right, he is actually preserving his Edward to be his anchor right now.
I think he's also knocking out and reviving to reset counts. So
that is true. This is plague.
I think there's a little of both.
Yes, I forgot. The life strategy against plague really helps you kind of extend that countdown a lot so that you too can beat this spot and get your spells and your XP.
As well as the pass for defeating this place. And meanwhile, Possum has defeated the very difficult fight of the Water Hag, and we'll now have the third boss fight in a row up here on Mount Ordeals. We're also going to see the key item very shortly.
All right. Ah, there's our underground access. And the other blue robe.
Oh, so many blue robes on Mount Ordeals.
Well, this is fun because this is a spot or a boss in this spot where you will actually gain experience from fighting it. So while this is long, you are gaining more experience than you were expecting coming up to Mount Hobbs.
But it is a lot longer than it used to be.
Oh, yeah.
But it is another relief that you're not going to see like a really nasty gauntlet on the moon or something like that.
Yes. As much as I know chat loves to see a good Masamune altar alt gauntlet or a Luca Cave alt gauntlet, unfortunately, all we are stuck with is a Crystal Room alt gauntlet.
But if you like skeletons, we got skeletons.
And zombie dance parties. And yes, chat does bring up a good point that this is an early game grind that you don't really expect, but Possum's going to kind of out of this pretty close to Quake on the Quack Kid, and hopefully gets up to Berserk and maybe even Blink on Rosa. So that is a lot of early game experience points that you don't have to necessarily go and fight in E-Trap chests in Eblin to get.
That's a good point, and also it might make it so that you'll get maybe one extra level if you like crack one egg once you go underground, and you know, anything that makes the bosses in the underground and the moon more easy to deal with is going to be a welcome relief. Like we said at the top of the broadcast, that looking at the objectives that are required today, it might be a long seed, but these little things add up to make it so that it won't be as difficult, or it might not be as long, even if you have to run around and fight all sorts of fights.
That is a very good point.
It looks like Possum has defeated that gauntlet and will be heading down Mount Ordeals as Wu is gotten Keinatsu into the shell.
Yes, Wu is through this Keinatsu fight for the most part. Just a couple more hits there. And then he too will find out that he will have an Ordeals grind as well. And with the Magna Key as well as the Pan, it will surprise me not at all to see Possum head straight to go throw that Magma Key down the well to go underground and get those free key item checks to try and find all of these different key items that we're still trying to collect this game.
Yeah, with the Feymarch chest, as well as having the Pan already in possession, that's a lot of choices. There still is Baron Inn that hasn't been checked on by either of our runners. It looks like Possum is going to stop there first before going underground. Might want to see if there's going to be an option better than a Bard.
Well, that is a Porum, and we all know that that is Possum's favorite character in Free Enterprise.
And this is an easy boss in an easy spot. Probably not what Possum would like to see here, but you know, you get what you get.
That is true. Hopefully this second boss fight, which can sometimes be very tricky, although with Possum's levels, I don't think he'll have any trouble with whatever is here, which is a Leviathan.
This is another one where you can just throw your dancing daggers at will, so that is going to help out quite a bit. Wewbear now just about to get into um, that alt gauntlet fight here on the top of Honor Deals.
That is a very good question. Which Eddie do you keep, the red Eddie or the blue Eddie?
Personally, I like the classic look, so I go red Eddie.
Oh, see, I'm blue Eddie all day.
I guess between the two of us, we can keep the pair then. Ooh, that's a tower key. That's a pretty nice pickup when you're going underground right after that. Having all of the tower available to you just means basically now whatever Possum wants to do underground, he can, other than the sealed cave. Everything is open right now.
Yes. And that tower key is our first objective on the list. So that is a bonus.
That might incentivize Possum to go there even earlier, maybe even before doing the Sheila checks, maybe before doing all the damage tiles in the Feymarch and the Sylph caves. So we'll see what the routing is going to be for Possum. We also might see some shop checks, because once you get underground, you've got these gated item shops and gated weapon shops, but especially the item shops where you can get items like hourglasses, like sirens, like Bacchuses, and these are kind of the chase items that you're looking for in this flag set.
Yes, and I don't know if chat's been paying attention, but Possum has not been looting at all, other than that public treasury.
Yeah, the mini treasury, and then basically spend it all on the dancing daggers.
Yep. So he may very well loot to buy some of these J items that you are trying to find once you get underground.
So yeah, that's going to be another real interesting decision point as to routing as well. And it looks like it's straight for the Sylph Cave. Wants to cash in that pan as quickly as possible. That's going to be the quickest, like, high density number of key item checks without doing any more fights. So I definitely understand this decision process too.
Yes, absolutely. Not to mention the fact that if you come down here, you're already at 1 HP. You may as well go and check the freebies and look at the Feymarch, and see what you may or may not have to fight, even though neither of the Feymarch bots are required. Chances are one of them will gate one of your 9 key items you need to finish these objectives.
That's always an interesting balancing act. Ooh, Darkness was great.
Well.
But I was going to say, like, it's a great, like, going to the Feymarch, like, is it worth it to get the information on the one key item right away? Or do you want to make it so that you might only go there once if you wait until you're leveled a bit higher to go down there just the one time? But I think following the logic that you had just said, JMac, wants to get a little bit more information, check the shop maybe, and definitely check that key item box.
Yeah, and I don't know if we started with the siren or have found a siren yet. If he had one, I think Possum would have used it immediately. So I feel like he's probably also looking for that siren just to kind of get this mage party on board a little more.
And Wewbear, after defeating that alt gauntlet, has also decided to go straight to Baron Inn, and will have the fights against the Kaipo guards and Leviathan to be rewarded with that white mage for him. As well as the tower key, of course.
Yes.
That was the Luca key in the...
It was.
That's pretty nice. We got a lot of keys so far, and...
oh, well...
That's... yeah. I think Possum was checking to see if Rosa had learned size yet. Try to avoid the hold gas. But without that, does not feel confident in taking that Golbez, and neither would I at that point. if I had access to size right now, I think I'd probably do it, and I think Possum probably would have too.
We do see him opening a couple of chests.
Yeah, this might be for those items like you were mentioning, the sirens, and especially the sirens. I think to get a few more levels on these mages, because like the difference in having size and not having size from that fight is one of those sort of things. Not that size is very useful in a ton of other fights, but
Yes, and chat
there
is
are the
noting that Possum did pass up on those heroine robes down in the Fey March. And while we know that he doesn't have much cash, I also know from playing and watching with Possum over the last couple of months that he really leans into all mage parties on this flag set. So I feel like he would not waste his precious gold on a heroine robe when he's going to just use the mage party instead of using like a murder Rosa.
Yeah, that would be a lot of money to invest in heroine robes, where like if the plan is to use nukes and whites at the end of the thing anyways, the money would be better spent on sirens if possible.
Yes.
You see Bacchus is for sale here. I did not see sirens though.
Nope. But we do have that moon shop access as well, which is another place they could be.
The Hummingway abode.
Now he is checking these shops for something.
Yeah, we see the really quick shots just scanning for something specific. Like it's, I mean, what I do when I practice a flag set is I come up with a shopping list basically, and I look specifically for those items. So I'm not just kind of hemming and hawing about, do I want this? Is this going to give me enough better or anything like that? No, I want this item, this item, this item. If I don't see them, I'm out of there. So you don't waste as much time in your shops.
Rex, are you the kind of person that also goes to the grocery store with a shopping list?
You know, interestingly, no, but I'm not usually in race situations when I'm shopping for my food. I hem and haw over food buying purchases all the time.
Well, we did find our last key.
I should speed run grocery shopping. That would be a smart move.
I think they have a game for that. I think it's called Supermarket Sweep.
You see Wewbear taking on a lot of the Seal Cave. Looks like it's going to use this as a grind. Having found that that curse ring earlier means that he can make it so Palom with that quake can act first before any of the monsters in these trap chests. So it's going to be able to not only get a higher loot out of these trap chests, but is also going to be able to get quite a bit of experience from taking on these trap chests in the Seal Cave.
Yes, I have learned that these Sylph Cave chests are really, really great for XP, especially when you find the Toad Lady chests, because all they do is toad.
Yeah, in some ways it's nice because it's very safe. You're not going to die. But in other cases, if you don't have that setup, it is so annoying to try to get through there if you get toaded.
I feel like Woo should get a little bit of bonus points for turning the Toad Lady into a toad. Maybe next tournament.
Maybe. And it looks like we might have a little bit more bad internet over on Possum's team. Possum, hopefully that gets fixed for you real quick. But we're going to keep calling and commenting on Woo's race for now. On this Marble fight, unfortunately, they were able to survive the first quake, but able to recover, and Palom's still going to get experience, as well as Rosa and Eddie.
You know, this is something that you don't see too many runners doing in this flag set, but I don't hate it in this situation and trying to take some of these trap chests, get that early XP, especially when they have not found sirens yet.
Right.
This is definitely not a bad choice. And now, especially that Palom at least, is pretty medium on levels and can now probably take those boss spots like the tower for sure.
Exactly. When you've got something like the tower key in your inventory right now, you want to be able to take on that tower right away so you can get all of that done in one fell swoop. Now, it looks like Wewbear is routing quite a bit differently than we saw Possum do. Um, got a hold of that darkness crystal and is immediately running to the Cydia to raise the big whale. And so we're going to get another character check up there, and that might define how the rest of Wu's run is going to go.
Yes, when we did lose Possum's stream, he too was headed up to the moon. So we will get a good look at this moon character.
Yeah.
Who are you hoping for at this point? You've got 2 white mages and a black mage and an Eddie as an anchor. Like, who are you looking for?
I think Tella is probably a really good pickup here because then you've got everything that you need to do D machine grind. You could do that and then be ready for the Giant of Babil right there because you have to do that anyways. So yeah, I think Tella it would be who I'd look for, and then you'd replace it and just use Tella as your anchor instead of Eddie.
I would agree with that. At this point, you're so far away from any sort of Zerker party.
Right.
And with just 4 characters, doing any sort of hybrid just isn't as effective as it would be with that 5th character. But we are about to see exactly who is up on the lunar chair up here.
From now on, I'm going to call it the lunar chair. I love that.
Oh boy.
Wow, a little bit more Porum. Oh, and that's right where we pick up with Possum too. So
Very convenient.
yeah, I don't think Porum is really what the runners were hoping for.
No, definitely not at this point. 1 Porum, fine. 2 Porums, eh. We do find those hourglass 2s, though. That will help kind of open up some alternate grinding options, as well as giving you that safety net for the couple of free bosses we still have left.
But still no sirens is one of the big things there. So back to the blue planet we go.
And with the whole world open to you, Rex, where would you be heading right now?
I think one of the axioms of complete your objectives kind of holds. So the tower is probably the first place that I would go to right now.
Yeah, I feel like that is probably where I would go as well. Although I don't know why, but clearing off this overworld and doing that Baron check is for some reason calling my name too.
I don't think that's a bad choice either, especially since you get a character check out of that. And I think both of our runners are really still interested in character checks at this point. We're not to the point where I think either of our runners are thinking like, yeah, I really want to go with this team.
Yeah, that is true. And we are 35 minutes in, and as our restreamer Alicel has reminded us, everything is being timed by RaceBot. So even though Possum's stream is acting like a potato, it will get evened out, and we will make sure that everything is as accurate as possible.
And it looks like Wewbear following your advice more than mine, JMac, as he is heading on over to Baron. And that might just be, he's already on the overworld, not in the underworld, so might as well make this check right now, too.
Yeah, and defeat the Baron. Basement Throne is also an objective.
That's true. And
So-
after taking on that, getting that little extra XP from some of those Sylph chests, Wewbear might be feeling like I might be able to do that as well, depending on what boss it is, of course.
Yeah. So I definitely don't hate this check, this peak. You're getting a look at another character check that's out there. The easiest one to kind of get to at this point. Just kind of to see what your party could be, or to solidify that, yes, this is probably, I'm going with 2 white mages and a black mage this go. And I'm terrible at looking and remembering who the first boss is. Oh, it is a Sparkle.
Yeah, that remembering that it hasn't been as much of a priority for me in this flight since we don't have boss hunts. But it is the Ogopogo, the Canadian destroyer. So it looks like a star veil being thrown at the beginning of this. This is a magic heavy team, so Ogopogo is notorious for being rude and countering a lot of magic that you try to attack it with. But in Final Fantasy IV, reflected magic does not cause counterattacks, so that's definitely a way to deal with it. Also going to be Berserking Rosa, so we do have some physical damage to complement that as well.
Huh. I have just realized that you could do reflect strats against Ogo. That makes so much sense, because I was sitting here like, why is he using a Star Veil?
Well, this is a learning experience for a lot of people, I suppose.
Okay. So this is how you counter the blaze. Let me store this strat in my back pocket. Thank you, Wewbear.
And we see Possumorpheus fighting Rubikins. With that background, I'm assuming this is in Dwarf Castle?
I would
we'll find
venture
out.
to guess.
And Ogopogo is defeated by Wewbear with the real secret strat of reflecting magic, so well done there. And now we've got a second fight here.
Evil Wall on the Baron Throne.
Kind of a fine place to find this. This is another one of these bosses where if it's in a very high attack power spot with a lot of HP on the moon, it's very scary. But in this situation, this isn't a super strong spot, and it doesn't have a ton of HP. This is a relief, especially for a team as squishy as this.
This Ruby is taking forever. There he goes.
But a successful takedown of the leg.
Also, can we just note the amount of twins on Possum's side right now? It's just a lot of children.
All right, I'll make a note. With a Karate Man is the second fight in Dwarf Castle, and a Sid as an optional character, and Possum says, he might have a lot of HP, but that's not what I need right now. I need magic.
That is interesting. To have that Sid in Dwarf Castle. If this character from Baron is not something that Wu wants, it would not surprise me at all for Wu to take the Sid over the Edward.
Well, Wu's got the option of a cane and is happy to let go of Edward the Bard to make way for Dragoon Kane, but I don't think either of these runners are super happy to have Kane in their team. He's not very reliable as an anchor, and if you're trying to do magic strats, he doesn't do much to that either. So we'll see. I believe they did get an Avenger earlier, and so that might be a reason to take Kane, though.
Yes.
Unless it was Soul.
Our tracker, John Burkhead, says that Wewbear, I think, still has his Avenger.
Ah, okay, yeah. That could be definitely a reason. Ooh, and the hook. That's a nice pickup for Wewbear there.
Yes, that will give him the, well, hopefully, the option of buying some sirens, assuming that they are in the hook shop.
Yeah, it's definitely not a given that sirens will be in the seed, but it's often likely that they'll be in one of the gated shops. And so, yeah, it looks like that's where Wewbear is heading off to. We might see yet another character check, and for it to be 41 minutes into the seed and still desperate to make character checks is really interesting, too.
Oh, I was about to say, well, this is also an objective, but that's the Giant of Babil, not launch the Falcon.
Right. There does tend to be a lot of launch the Falcon objectives on Magma Key seeds. So.
Very, very true. And we did find our sirens, so sirens are in this seed. So we are going to see Wewbear sell a good amount of his inventory.
Yeah, about lucky number 13 sirens. Oh, there's a Governor Spear for sale. I don't think that's what he's going to get. Oh, man.
Well,
I was wrong.
Apparently he is keeping this cane.
Yeah.
Because you don't just throw 65,000 gold on a weapon for a character you're going to yeet, so...
Absolutely not. And then that makes sense with no character. Don't want to make the character check. If you just invested that much money into Kane, you're not going to go further on it. See who's available.
Very true. So we do see Possum heading up the Tower Babil, finding the Odin in the super cannon room. But as the spot has 700 HP?
About right, I think.
Very easy. Whereas Wu is headed straight to do some eggs, so I hope you are hungry.
Now, this is an MP intensive grind if you're going to be relying on Quake to kill your eggs. So those cabins that were bought earlier in the seed, you might see some of them being used here.
And at 43 and a half minutes into the seed, our first objective number has been lit. Possum has destroyed the super cannon.
And now Possum does continue to climb the tower, heading up to the top of the tower. Going to do that check as well. At this point in the seed, I don't think it would make sense to try the Penguinator special and leave after half tower. There's a lot of key items we need.
Yes. We are still looking for Rat Tail, Adamant. Actually, just Rat Tail and the Adamant.
Yeah, that's it.
Never mind. No, package.
We do not?
Package.
Oh, the package, yeah.
Ew, Baigen.
You know, I usually don't mind Baigen that much at the top of the tower, but this squad is kind of squishy, and Baigen does love to punch people.
We are going to get that blink up on Palom, because Palom is our main source of attack in this party.
A lot of white mages does mean a lot of access to blink, and that does help a lot against Baigen. Wewbear only did like 1 or 2 eggs right now, but that's going to give him a leg up on these levels here. And so I don't think this Baigen is going to be as difficult for Wewbear as it might be for Possum, even though I don't think Possum's having too much problem with it. Like potential problem, I guess I could have said for Possum, but these blinks doing work.
Yes, and I do have a feeling that since Wewbear is at 8 key items, that he's hoping that he's going to get a couple,
Yeah.
so that he doesn't have to use, or when he does go back to do the rest of his sirens, that he can get that double XP bonus.
I think that makes sense too. I imagine that he wants to do the bulk of his grind at 10 key items since he's so close right now.
All right, chat, quit being so punny.
But yeah, Wylam in the chat does make a good point here. The fact that we've got an Avenger Kane here on Wewbear's side, that could make this go quite a bit faster. I'm not sure about having him in the back row though, because with no back row glitch,
we're trying to swap them.
Do. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think might have been in pre-grind formation, so Kane was in the back row because he didn't have anything to do with that grind anyways.
I do feel like we are going to get a little bit of an arm grind on both sides.
Yeah.
So that is, again, another unintentional grind in this seed.
And just a couple of eggs, you see that Avenger, the Kane is attacking quite a bit, but not doing tons of damage at this point. Once a few more levels have been getting, then it'll be more potent of an attack. But right now, it's still, I mean, it's helping, but it's not like Palom is way out damaging Kane at this point still.
We do have Possum, who has gotten through this Beigen spot and is rewarded with a package. Well, what we started with 9 required items, 8 required items. It looks like this is kind of lending itself to be a relatively jetty seed.
Well, I mean, it kind of depends on like where that adamant and where that rat tail is, right? If one of them is being granted for leaving the tower, like if it's the rat tail and that gives you the adamant, I mean, we're go mode.
But realistically, those two things are going to be buried behind something.
Yeah, behind like the Luca key or behind the twin harp, which might be on the moon or something like that. So,
yes, we love our chains here in Free Enterprise.
You better believe it. Or at least the randomizer itself likes those chains. And Wewbear's through that Beigen fight as well. So. Oh, there's the adamant.
Wow. Wow. That tower was triple required.
Yeah. Now, Wu did not take this fight on the way up, so needs to make a pit stop on the way down to defeat this Odin and complete objective number 1. And we'll be getting the adamant for leaving as well.
And that is Possum's 10th key item.
And it will be Wewbear's 10th as well.
Yes.
But Wu already has that stack of sirens, so might complete the grind afterwards too.
I mean, if I was Wu, that's exactly what I would do. Get Palom up to nuke and then nuke everything.
Ooh, so I'm going to go ahead and do this package cutscene right now. Going to check this character. We've got a Yang.
Oh, Punch Mage. Don't really need you, though.
I wonder at this point if Possum would have been interested in any characters.
I would say exactly Atella, and that's it.
And that might be because Possum hasn't gotten his hands on sirens yet, whereas Wu does, because I don't think Wu would take Talon right now. I could be wrong, though. I'm not sure. I have been wrong so many times when I'm calling races for free on the drive.
Well, it is hard to predict a randomizer.
Okay, good. Yeah, we'll call it that.
And as predicted, Wewbear has headed straight to do his egg grind.
Yeah, I still think I would like having Kane start in the front row, but that's just me. There we go. Thank you, Wewbear. And of course. Attack from behind. Like,
Which again,
Wewbear can't buy a break here.
Again, how does an egg attack from behind?
It's really, really sneaky. But now Possumorpheus now going through this Baron route will have the option of getting that cane as well. And will also be getting the hook. So we'll have access to sirens once. I mean, if he decides to go to the Emblem Town, which I imagine he would. If you're going for mage strats, you need to grind, and sirens are generally going to be the best way to do that.
Yeah, and with the whole world kind of open, it does make sense to go ahead and try and find those sirens if you can and grind now, just because you can just go and follow exactly your objectives, which are the moon, which is the giant, and hope that you can the Baron Throne, and then hope that you can find that rat tail.
But instead, Wu is going back to the Feymarch. Has not cracked all the eggs yet, but might feel confident enough. We know that these bosses down here aren't necessarily the most difficult ones. And Wu hasn't ever been down here at all, because that's the Luca key. So maybe that was...
Huh. Okay.
So
I kind of forgot. Yeah.
We have the Dark Knight Cecil. Yeah, but Wewbear doesn't want to tangle with these. The Galvez is probably doable for Wewbear at this point. I mean, if he wants to, but it's really slow. And when you're this close from go mode, when you just need that rat tail to finish it off, I can understand like saying, I don't want to do these slow fights. I don't want to do Galvez, and I know I can't do that Dark Knight Cecil yet. I just need more hit points in order to do that.
Yeah, I feel like at this point, if you don't have to mess with the Feymarch, you don't mess with the Feymarch. It
Like,
just
I think
takes so
going
much
down,
time.
Yeah, but I think like going down and checking the sealed cave key item is probably faster than doing that Galvez fight. So if either of those fights are where the rat tail is, though, we might be in for a long seed. Like we might be in for a 28 out of 28 if we need to do those.
Full clear of the moon just to come back down, and it's right there.
It's a real possibility. Because I can imagine both of our runners saying, I don't want to have to deal with those things now that they both know that they're like just really annoying things to try to deal with. So they might just be like, if it's there, I'm doing it last. And if my opponent did it, then I guess I lose this race. But they might be both in that exact same mindset. I know that that's a decision that I've made in some races. Like I see a boss at a spot, like, no, no, no. But if I have to, I'll come back there and do it last.
Yes. And we are about to get our first peek at this required Baron Basement Throne.
Yeah, Dr. Luge, much easier than Dark Knight Cecil at King of Monsters.
For sure.
Balnab looking angry tonight.
He just needs some oil, though.
If he gave him some oil, do you think he'd dance like the Tin Man in the Wizard of Oz?
I wish. Complete with heel clicks. I feel like that's a big possibility. Well, we do have Possum presented with the cane choice. He says, no, thank you. So it does definitely looks like Possum is committing to this all mage party.
I think what might end up tripping up Possum in this is if there's a spot where there's a Valvalus, where it might be one with really high, like where magic won't penetrate the tornado form.
Like perhaps at the required White Spear altar?
I mean, that's a possibility, in which case Possum may have to run back to the Tower of Which you came, but we'll cross that bridge if we come to it.
Ooh, a party rock from the Baron throne. Excuse me, Baron basement.
Well, it is a throne and Baron. I think you're close enough. It opens up a treasury, but at this point, I don't think either our runners would bother to go to the treasury. We'll see, though. Like I said, I've been wrong so many times.
I don't know how much like defensive mage gear we have.
I mean,
and
that's
with Palom,
true.
Yeah, with Palom as our main source of kind of attack, it would be really nice to pull like a Stardust Rod out of that treasury.
It would be nice. I just, like, I don't think these runners would think they're strictly needed. And in which case, I think they'd probably avoid it because it does take time to walk down there. I don't even know how high of a priority going to Zot would be for our runners right now.
Yeah, at this point, that might be a check that is kind of ignored for like the moon clear at this point, because all you're looking for is that rat tail.
Wewbear also taking the time to do the package check right now while in the neighborhood.
Now we do see Possum walking all the way down to do this character check in Cave Evelyn.
That is really interesting as well. Ooh, there is a ninja, and Possum says no, just sold everything. So if there was any good ninja swords in his inventory, he probably just sold them for those 15 sirens.
Yes, and I bet that was an exact looking for exactly a Tella at this point.
Yeah, probably. Now it's off to the Tower of Wishes, maybe to grab one of the characters to be an anchor.
And he is going for the Sid. No.
And that's not it. Or is it? Maybe he forgot everyone that he saw and wanted to make sure he wasn't missing anybody else that he'd rather have.
Yeah, maybe he was looking instead for Iridia. I can only hope.
As much as that would have been nice, I don't think radio was on his mind there. Oh, this is interesting. Going into Kaipo, gonna pick up Yang. This is one that was not on my radar at all.
Yeah. I'm confused.
Well, these Mega Sisters will not be difficult for Possum. Meanwhile, Wewbear heading down to the bottom of the lunar subterranean. It looks like he wants to take care of that white spear altar, it appears.
This will definitely be a question I have for Possum at the end of this.
Maybe he's just, like, when it comes to mage parties, he'd much rather have Nuke than White, and so is kind of switching gears into a Zerker strategy. But then if you're doing that and he does take the K or the Yang, then why wouldn't you take... Does he not have the Avenger that Wewbear does? Or did he sell it or something like that? I forget where we got that. No, it was from bonking Yang on the head, wasn't it?
No, I think we got it in a sylph chest.
Oh, it was in a trap chest. Okay, so that's not something that he'd have, so yeah. Okay, then that makes more sense. If he wants to switch to a more Berserker-centric party, then I guess that makes sense to go with Yang. I think he had a cat claw too, so.
Well, and we do find a Nashura at this required white spear altar.
We'll see a quick reset. Probably wants to not go in with the Avenger equipped, or instead wants to do something else. Goes right next door to the ribbon room and finds Mylon and Gas.
Do we have wall on that Rosa yet? I don't remember what level Rosa learns wall.
Maybe not. I know she has tier 4, but if she doesn't have wall yet, and he's low on Star Veils, he might be doing this fight to get her to wall before doing that. So yeah, that could be a thing.
And while we kind of are at
that Rosa has learned wall, so that is not the reason, apparently.
Oh, okay. Well, while we are kind of at a little bit of a pause with a grind on one side and a long lit one counter-reactive Mylon, I just want to take a minute to shout out our Restream team. Thank you to Allie for rolling this heck of a seed so far. And thank you to John Burkhead for pushing all of the buttons and not eating them or throwing them at Possum to eat.
Also, give a shout out to all the people who have been working on the administration end of this tournament to make sure everything happens, so that we're able to bring you these teams of volunteers to give you all the shows. Also, big shout outs to both of our runners tonight, Possumorpheus and Wewbear, to just race in both, like, being really nice people who are really friendly when you ask them questions, and just being excellent runners to watch and putting on a good show. And to my co-commentator, J-Mac.
Aw, thanks. And let's not forget to shout out my awesome co-commentator, Rex, who is super knowledgeable about this game. I learned so much from hanging out with you in the booth and in other free enterprise channels, so thank you.
Now, if only I could put that knowledge to use and do well in one of these tournaments. That would be nice. But at any rate...
Hey, ZZ5 is in 6 short months, right?
It is true that I generally do better in the Zima Zone tournaments than in the spring tournaments, but we'll see. These eggs at 10 key items go so fast. Possumorpheus' squad already, you're seeing those HP levels just becoming astronomical, especially on Yang.
Yeah, this isn't a bad pickup because Yang can do a lot of damage even without a lot of gear. So I can kind of see how this is pivoting into the strategy that he decides to do for this flags today.
Especially since you mentioned Possum has been doing very little looting just in general, like just enough to buy those sirens so you don't have a lot of extra cash. Plus, he had picked up a cat claw at some point. So, like, all of that just means Yang made a lot of sense.
Yeah, that cat claw was from Sheila one turn in, I believe.
I believe those are the Artemis arrows that were given from Coco that Rosa is using to one-shot those eggs as well.
And we are getting our look at our very, very free Masamune altar.
This is some nice free experience here.
Yeah, I was about to say, just here you go. Here's 112,000 experience.
Oh, and Wu wants Forum to get more experience here. Resurrecting her for this fight. She can't be close to 28. Maybe getting her a little bit isn't going to hurt that much because of that curse string that Wewbear has in his inventory. I just find it really interesting when they've got a character that a runner seems to be using as their anchor, and then decide to resurrect them for a fight that they're definitely going to win without any problems.
Yeah, but that Porum is already at over 1,000 HP, so
I mean, that's true. But
we're not really that worried about it. Well, that is my favorite reward for a character who's not in this party. But Wu has decided that he wants that experience, so he is going to walk out the Bahamut Orb.
And Possum now finding Dr. Luge down at the basement throne. Wewbear still not ready to take on that Ashura fight. Oh, gold dragon grind time. Okay.
Yeah, we do have an hourglass. So this is a good use, a good bit of extra XP to hopefully bulk up a little bit more.
And has also learned weak on Palom, so that this is going to be a pretty quick fight overall. With a life glitch, this fight at 10 key items should give 180,000 experience. So that is a lot to go in one swoop.
Porum punched for one. Go, Porum.
And there is Nuke and White.
Yeah, that did bring us to Medio, Nuke, and White.
And now it's finally time to take on Ashura.
And we are just swag walking it. Let's go.
Possum now with the Earth in his possession. Well, Earth Crystal, that is. Not like Galactus or something like that.
Or Atlas, carrying Earth on his shoulders.
Nuke does a lot of damage.
Yep, and we do see those reflect strats coming back. Nuke
It
and
looks
white.
like Possum is going to give us a treasury check.
Oh! This is a very surprising check from Possum to me. But we
I
do
agree
get to
with
play
you
everyone's
100%.
favorite game!
Right.
Right, that treasury!
That was a pretty stacked
Yeah!
treasury. Especially considering you just and an extra couple walks around. Okay,
I wonder
well,
if that was a unwritten thing.
Yeah, that might have been a gentleman's agreement that Possum had with Wewbear. Like, if we're doing the treasury, we're going to walk around it 3 times or something like that.
Although chat has rated that treasury, you have the wrong team out of 10.
Well, the Power Robe and the Zeus Gauntlet and everything like that, now that he's got Yang on his team, well, that seems pretty good.
Yeah, that is true. And there was Tiara and something else for Rosa.
Yeah, Tiara, okay for Rosa. It doesn't boost her casting stat at all, but very good for defense.
So we are going to get the Sot check. Hoping to just score that rat tail right out of here. And not have to go to the moon.
Well, he'll still have to go to defeat that Ashura at the White Spear altar. So he's not going to go to the moon.
That is true.
And we have the elements fight here. Really, the only scary part of the elements fight is the target all glare from the Rubicon part. But with the firepower, able to dispatch that before that came out, so very easily done. And in that spot, the magic power is so low that glare might not have even been too much of a threat either.
Spoonword!
Yep, got to go back and reacquire Edward now for sure, right?
Yes, that is a requirement in these flag sets in case you didn't know.
Now we'll see if he dips right back in to go to the Mirasame altar, still looking for that rat tail, and he does. Meanwhile, this CPU, this is at the Mega Sister spot, right?
Yes. So we have not yet seen the characters on Zot, so this is the Mega Sisters.
Easily dispatched of by Possumorpheus after the grind. This is way early in the game for how strong he is, so very easily done there. There's the Rydia.
Woohoo!
Which you know he's going to pick, right, J-Mac?
Oh, of course.
What you need to do after you've already grinded on eggs is pick up a character with 30 hit points.
Well, she is a better anchor than Sid.
Oh, you know, you're not wrong.
To answer a question in chat, we have seen the bosses in Feymarch. They were a Dark Cecil and a Golbez. Neither have decided to fight them, though. Oh, goodbye, Rydia.
And this is the Dark Elf in the Mirasame altar, the Vanilla Pale Dim spot. Possumorpheus is about to check out the Vanilla Valve on this spot, and we have Bahamut, another one that is not going to be difficult.
No, not with Nuke on the table.
Yeah, the one nuke, definitely enough to take out the boss here.
We are seeing that weak thrown out on the Dark Dragon over here. because once it morphs into the dragon, it is no longer gated by the boss bit, so you can do things like weak it.
Is one of the weird things about the game where, like, the dark elf is transforming into its scarier, more powerful dragon form, and now it can be hit by various status ailments, and really is trivial.
Oh, that was the rat tail from the Tower of Zot.
Wow, Zot was the play all along. Now the question is, Wewbear's definitely going to do this fight up here in Cape Bahamut, and how long is it going to be before he goes back and does Zot? Where is Zot in the hierarchy of things to do once he returns to the blue planet?
I mean, all he's got to check is Earth Crystal and Luca.
I guess that's true, unless this is the Twin Harp.
Unless this is exactly the Twin Harp.
It is a lunar sparkle. You see, already adjusting the battle speed. Got to get prepared for Wyvern, which it is. Oh, no Star Veils left, just one Moon Veil, but able to get it off on Kane.
Hoping to get that nuke off, but not today.
Luckily did not start this fight. I mean, not luckily, he was ready. He did not start this fight with the Avenger equipped, so able to take a little bit of time to resurrect some characters. And here come the reflected nukes. Luckily, another spot where the it's not the strongest magic attack. You see those nukes coming in for under 1,500 damage, which is pretty good here. Now, the question is, can Palom do enough damage? It's not going to help if those reflected nukes hit him. That's the longer this fight takes, the more this is favoring Possumorpheus here, because spiking the right key item on the blue planet now just has to go through, defeat that Ashura, and then complete the giant.
So the faster that Wu can get through this Blarg, the faster he can get back. Well, he would go through the giant too, I think, at this point.
I think that would make sense, yeah.
So that he doesn't have to touch that whale. And then my guess would be, since after the giant he would go straight to the Tower of Zot first, then... Because
okay,
this is not the Twin Harp. Yep.
It's not the Twin Harp. Yes.
So that is good news for Wu.
Probably, yes. And yep, you were correct there, J-Mac, going right to the giant next. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Oh, whoa, that was not a very helpful moon dive for Wewbear.
No, not other than getting up to Nuke and White.
Right, yeah, Wu did get a lot of experience on the moon, without a doubt, but Possum's grind of using more eggs to grind ended up being a more efficient way of getting the experience, because he won't have to take the time with all those moon bosses. Because I think finding that, like going right to Zot and finding it right there, I think that kind of switched. Like, I think Wu was in the driver's seat for a lot of this scene, but that trip to Zot really paid off, and I think it's flipped to Possum's favor right now. But it's still close.
Agree with you. Yeah, this is way closer than it would have been about 3 minutes ago.
Yeah.
It could have been a way that it would have routed not in Wu's favor, but at least at this point, it seems like we're going to get the Twin Harp from either the Luca Cave or the Rat Tail Turn-In, both of which are good news for Wewbear, because that means he will probably go to the Tower of Zot before doing Luca.
I mean, the Feymarch bosses are still there as well. I think that's the only thing that might draw Wewbear to the underground first, is having two checks down there. But yeah, it's still like he needs to go to Zot immediately after completing these giant checks, and if he doesn't, then I think it's Possum's race. But it could go either way still at this point.
We do find that Octomam on the giant. 65,000 hit points of Octomam.
Yeah, but luckily Octomam in its script, every couple times you hit it, will lose a leg. It gets slower and slower and slower, so it becomes a lot easier to recover if you can get past the first few hits.
Meanwhile, Possum has found an arty bow to match his arty arrows, and has completed his objective on the moon. So now he just needs to head to the giant of Babil before heading to Z.
Yeah, it looks like Wewbear is going to be finishing up this Octomam probably pretty close to where Possum starts the fight with Octomam.
Yep, I still think Possum is probably a couple minutes ahead at this point.
Yes.
Also keeping in mind that Possum's time, he started a couple minutes behind on this stream, so who really knows exactly what his time is right now.
Yeah, especially if this ends up being like what looks to be a really close finish on stream. We'll let you know what the race spot says with dealing with Possum's potato internet as well, so we'll see. But Wewbear has defeated Octomam. Possum is going through the giant right now. Yeah, we're going to get a quick save and probably a heal here, and we will see what the boss of the vanilla CPU spot is.
And our restream team is confirming that Possum's timer is about 5 minutes earlier than what our timer is right now on his personal stream. So he might be somewhere about 4 minutes ahead or so.
And Pale Dim in the second spot is actually pretty scary. This is a very strong physical spot, and Pale Dim likes to punch a lot.
But what else does Pale Dim like to do, Rex?
There's a certain sound effect that happens whenever Pale Dim is hit by basically anything. Do you want to display that sound effect, J-Mac?
It's my favorite thing about this game. I'm not gonna lie. It's my favorite thing other than Rydia.
Well, enjoy it in all its glory in this play. So Wewbear has defeated Pale Dim. We're going to get another character check.
And here's a PSA to all free enterprise newbies. Do not summon on Pale Dim. I know that Berserker now says it's extra fun. It is extra quakey.
I mean, if you cast Float, then you're fine.
Yeah.
And there's that Tella. So you got to take him now. Actually, I don't think it would be all that bad. He'd be a great anchor. He's got all the utility spells. Yeah. Wewbear takes Tella.
Wewbear takes Tella, keeps that curse ring, and we are all set for a real anchor.
All right, so now Wu needs to go to Zot. If he's gonna, I think if he's gonna have a shot at this.
So we are about to find out.
Not going underground, that's good. Heading up to Zot. So that's what we needed. That means we're going to have a really close finish for this race.
Yes. As close as it could be at this point.
Yeah, this still absolutely could go Possum's way, but no, who's going to the treasury? This might be part of the gentleman's agreement as well, if there was one.
We'll see if he in fact goes around a couple of times. Yep.
Yeah, he's just doing that. That's the agreement. Does not want to bother with taking the time to open any chests, but yeah, they must have had an agreement beforehand.
You know, even in a high stakes race like the top 8 of a major tournament, we can still see our community having a lot of fun, and that's really what our community is about. I will resist the urge
to make this sound effect every single time you see the animation on the screen.
I'll be a good commentator and not make any more sound effects.
So Wewbear has to climb the tower and then take a couple of bosses up here, but they're going to be pretty quick. That CPU is probably going to be the more annoying one to get through as quickly as possible. But Possum has now defeated the Giant of Babil, will be getting his crystal, and will just have to go to Toria. And then plus there's that time difference. Like, I think Possum's still ahead. We'll see what happens in the Z fight, and we'll confirm for everyone out there exactly what is going on when we get to the finish times. All we can do is basically call what we see. So that's kind of how we're rolling with it right now. But just so that we know, we'll make sure that you all know exactly what happens when we know.
We are seeing the Quake stats. Quake strats on Wewbear's side with the floating orbs, because of course the floating orbs don't actually float because it's Final Fantasy IV.
And Mylon does float, but his animation does not float. So there you go. And here comes Possum, ready to take the shortcut through Toria via the pass into the Z fight. And I think it's going to be about time for us to ask a particular question. J-Mac, do you want to take it away today?
Oh, of course. Because we cannot randomize Z into the regular boss pool because he is just so big and just so scary. We instead randomize what clothes he wears during the final boss. So as our Z flags hint, we have a question to ask, and that question is, whose butt are we going to kick tonight? Is that butt cute? And according after this tournament, does that butt have a hat on?
Yeah, when you were talking about clothes, I'm like, maybe Z will be wearing a jaunty hat tonight.
I hope so. A nice floppy one.
Right now, Wu is just finishing up Bahamut. I think Wu might need Possum to wipe a couple of times in order to come back on this because of the time difference as well. But at these levels, I don't think either of our runners are going to have any issues.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that Palom with 2,300 HP and thinking, I don't think that Possum's going to wipe.
I think it's going to be interesting to see if he goes. Never mind. We do not have a Zeramos Sprite tonight.
There's no Zeramos Sprite. There is no clothes, no hat, no butt, no nothing.
Butt time. So yeah,
Just
That's
ignore
where we're
it.
at,
It's
so.
fine.
But I think it's going to be interesting if Possum, like, how long, like, if he just goes like a pure, like, hybrid strategy, because, like, a Zerk Yang at this level can do a lot of damage.
That is true, but then at the same time, you have to worry about Yang accidentally tipping.
Well, I think if you go pure hybrid, you just don't worry about that. And if you've got the damage output to do it, you can often win a hybrid Zeramus fight without seeing a second Zeramus. But I haven't done that with 4-player parties nearly as much as I've done it with 5-character parties. So I don't know if it's going to be best to eventually, like, if we see a black hole, maybe just have Yang stop, or if they knock him out before the end, we'll see.
Yeah, so we do have Wewbear coming to join us up in his Z fight as well. So even though this race might not be as close time-wise, it will be close on this stream.
Well, yeah, this looks like just going to go purely hybrid through this fight. And if you're in that case, you get to not worry about counting. You could just dish out all sorts of damage and get through this fight actually pretty quickly. I love a hybrid strategy. It's my personal favorite way to deal with Zeramus.
Well, it looks like chat is not following directions. Chat is not ignoring the Z sprite at all. So shame on chat.
And here comes a full-powered Big Bang, but Palom just able to survive at 75 HP. And that's it.
There it is.
The crumble begins. GG's to Possumorpheus, the winner of tonight's race at 1 hour 27:40, and I believe we are joined by one of the admins of this event, Scala Kitty.
Hello, everyone. If I'm here, it's basically to say kind of what we all already have figured out. We're just letting everyone know that the admin are going to be reviewing Possum's VOD after everything's all sort of done to make sure that that time is indeed correct. We're hoping it is, but we're going to go through and just review the footage from his local recording, just to make sure that everything's on the up and up, as it were. So, but GG's to both Possum and to Woo in the future, and I'll go back to being test admin. Please ignore.
Thanks, Scala.
Of course.
And we did also have now been joined by Possumorpheus. GG's to Possumorpheus, the king of potato internet.
Yeah, ain't that a thing, huh? GG's. Sorry, y'all, for all the headaches. Sorry, Ali, and everyone watching. Yeah, you would think in a major metropolitan area such as Las Vegas, Nevada, that you could get some decent internet, but apparently that is just a myth around these parts. So apologies again for the potatoing.
No problem. So, how did you feel about that seed?
Felt pretty good, honestly. The start with the Edwards especially drove me to want to find dancing daggers, and lo and behold, they were in the second shop I found, and that really set the tone. Neither Wewbear nor myself like to shop a lot, so I figured if I could find dancing daggers early, I'd get a huge leg up on him based on how many times we have raced and how wonderful he has been to teach me so much about this game. So it was one of those things where if I can find those dancing daggers, I can take very quick Edwards and just steamroll the overworld. And thankfully, that's exactly what happened. also archive the knowledge there was a mute knife in this village in case I came across an edge somewhere before, well, what was it, the hour mark when it was irrelevant, along with every other what would have been relevant character at that point.
You made the decision to kind of switch up your party pretty wholesale before you ground, picking up both Sid and Yang. Do you want to talk us through that decision-making process?
Yeah, I mean, Yang is a mage that has 5,000 health, so I love my mages on this flag set. He doesn't require a lot of loot. I think I looted 44 total chests, so I didn't really do much looting before the treasury. So realistically, it was, 26 chests before treasury. Yang needs sirens. He needs levels. He's basically a mage. So happened to just pick him up and knew I was going to be grinding for Nuke and White. Had I been going to the Feymarch, which was the plan afterwards, had Zot not paid off, I would have ended up, just having the HP on Yang to not worry about DKC. Additionally, he could actually tank a virus from Golbez at the Asura spot. So Yang was a couple of reasons. He also provides Val insurance. So lots of different reasons that Yang is really beneficial. Had I found something better than, I think, a fire sword, which he came with for Kane, maybe I would have considered Kane, but he just wasn't doing anything for me. So I want an anchor, I want a nuker, I want a white mage, and I want someone who gives me melee, and that was Yang in this case.
Yeah, that
That's
definitely
interesting.
surprised me, just having watched you run a lot of these seeds and knowing how you really like your full mage parties. But I did see how that strategy really did end up paying off for you.
Yeah, the other thing with that is I simply didn't have the gear that the mages normally do. I didn't have anything better than a silver staff for Rosa. I think I had a wizard shirt. She was only getting like 1 or 2 multipliers for White. And then Palom, even with all the levels in the world, I think I had his starting Thunder Rod and a wizard shirt and no other gear. So his nukes were not doing what they normally would. Rosa's whites were not doing what they normally would. So that's also why I ended up going hybrid in Z instead of the normal reflect strats. It just wasn't there to do pure reflect this time around. No adamant armor, no nothing in the way of Stardust Rods, life staves. The Kokol Forge was empty for any stat boosting gear, so I just kind of had to do what I had to do.
And so this win, as Scala mentioned, the admins will review your local recording and everything like that. But assuming everything goes well, that puts you 1-0 here in the quarterfinals against Wu. And this was a really close match. It really came down to you making the decision to go to Zot before going to the moon and everything like that. That seemed to be the point where it really puts you in the driver's seat for the rest of the seed. How do you feel about how you did today? And do you have any thoughts for the rest of this matchup against Wu?
I'm just going to keep playing my game. I think that by and large, that's the reason I've gotten where I've gotten, is I will do what I need to do and make other people make plays to beat me. So it sounds like that was what happened here, talking to Wu in the post-game chat, that he knows I love my Earth Clears. My decision was going to be, in this case, to go to Zot, then go to Feymarch, and then Luca. And then I would go to the moon. That's just how I want to run these. Yes, if I had multiple lunar objectives, I'd head up there. But with only one, I don't think I like the math there. So that's how I'm going to play. I'm very predictable, if nothing else, and as long as it works, I'll keep doing it. So not really going to change anything up. I got to stay on top of my game though, and keep playing well to beat Wu. He is one heck of a competitor and taught me so much about what I know about this game. So I wouldn't be here if not for him, that's for darn sure.
Well, you did put on a great show tonight. Really showed how just executing well really does pay off in seats like this. So GG's to you.
I had one last question for you before I let you go here, Possum.
Mm-hmm.
Did you and Wu say that you had to do laps in the treasury?
Of course we did. We had to do something, and I promise you we'll do something for our race tomorrow at the same time. A little gentleman's
GG's.
agreement never hurt nobody.
We
That-
definitely
that-
can't wait to see that.
Yeah, it was. We enjoyed it for sure.
We saved the spicy stuff for tomorrow because we really want to
Ooh.
mess with those commentators. But yeah,
Well-
thank you everyone so much, Allie, for putting up with the potato internet. Again, I apologize. I made your job like 12 times harder than it needed to be. Scala as well having to step in. My apologies. But John, thank you for pushing all the buttons. Again, made this extra challenging for you too. And then JMac and Rex, I look forward to watching this one back and catching the great comms that I'm sure we're on it. And last but not least, of course, GG again to Wewbear. Love you, buddy, and good luck tomorrow as well. Again, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, we'll be going at it again.
Thanks, Possum, and thanks for letting us watch your race. So that was our winner today, Possumorpheus, and let's see if Wewbear wants to join us, and I think we have a Wewbear. GG's. Sorry it didn't go your way tonight, but I think you played a pretty good race. What are your immediate thoughts after this?
I don't know if I have any. The moon was really poor. That's about it. That's about all I got on that.
I think that is the understatement of the night.
Yeah. Yeah, I figured, like, 'cause I know how Possum plays. I figured he would stay planet, so I'm thinking one key item. I have an objective up there, anyways. I have a pass. Like, let's try it, and it just clearly wasn't the play to do.
I mean, it's like if that King Queen Evelyn had the rat tail behind it, it was probably your race. But it wasn't like that. It was like you put yourself in the position to win, knowing how your opponent is going to go, and you can't really fault yourself for that, can you?
I mean, sure.
I mean, I guess you could, yeah, but you shouldn't. That's
No,
what I'm
no,
saying.
I don't.
Right.
I think there was 4 checks on the planet and there was like 6 on the moon. So with K main waiting and all that, maybe it's like 50-50. I don't know, but that's what I figured. And yeah, didn't work out. I figured because I didn't want to grind either, so I'm like, I'll just get my levels up there while I'm checking things. Yeah, nothing was up there, I think, except for a spoon.
Yeah, just a spoon.
And,
but you
and the
did
one required objective.
Yeah. You did show our watchers tonight just how not only do you have to like execute well on your own, but also just understanding and knowing who you're racing against can kind of also direct your routing in ways that maybe you wouldn't necessarily do against someone else. But you still executed really well. I thought it was very, very clean. You made
like the first 5-10 minutes or so.
Well,
wiping the plague was kind of awkward. But...
Yeah, but that's that just shows that you're human.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, you made a lot of really smart choices that both me and Rex kind of called, and choices that also we were like, oh, you chose the other way of doing things. And so I just thought overall, it was just a very clean and well executed run from you. It just didn't, the cards didn't roll in your favor tonight.
Yeah, it happens.
Did you have any other?
Was anyone super impressed with my jump kill on Zeromus?
Oh, I'm sorry. We were talking to Possum.
Oh, you didn't see my jump kill?
No.
I'm being straight up honest with you here.
I added like an extra 4 minutes to my run just to set that up, and you didn't even.
I'll go back and watch it, Woo. I'll go back and watch it.
There is the VOD. You're making us feel bad too. So
no, I'm teasing. It's okay. Yeah, I mean, I could have killed Z a little bit earlier, but I noticed that I low rolled on one of them, so I'm like, okay, I can do one more reflected nuke, and then he kept black holing my characters, so I kept nuking myself, and I didn't have any walls, so it took me a couple minutes extra to get that jump kill, but I thought it was sassy.
You kind of had an issue with lack of star veils for a lot of that seed, didn't you?
I mean, not really. I had the exact perfect amount if I was to, do the Z fight properly.
Okay,
I didn't run out and be like, oh no, I don't have any star veils, so that's, yeah.
Did you have any other final thoughts about tonight's race or the matchup in general of you versus Possum?
Uh, no, I think me and Possum play a little bit similarly. He's a little bit cleaner technical, so I probably have to do some fancy stuff to win. But yeah, I tried something new. Like I don't usually do the Self Cave, but I had like R1A or RA1 Quake. I'm like, yeah, let me do a couple trap chests, and of course I get like the worst one with the 2 mob rolls because you can't get the Quake off in time, but it worked out. Spiked an Avenger, and that kind of like set me on my path to check characters looking for a Kane because I haven't had an Avenger in brackets yet, so that was fun.
Well, I also did appreciate that you toted the Toad Lady.
Yeah, well, she
I
told
did award you bonus points for that. I know they don't really count, but they're JMac bonus points all the same.
I'll accept them.
Well, thank you for joining us, GGs, and good luck on the rest of your matchup.
No problem. Thank you. Thanks everyone for doing the things and the buttons and the talking and whatnot. Good night.
Oh, thank you. Good night, Woo.
Well, that was our runner-up for tonight's race, Wewbear. Before we go, just want to one more time thank LSL for restreaming today, John Burkhead for tracking. Want to let you know that tomorrow we've got a full plate of Free Enterprise at 7 p.m. Eastern on the RPG Limit Break channel. We've got Curios versus Simbu, Game 1. A little bit later at 9:30 p.m., Game 1 of Moonblaze Wolf versus Rybon. And the second game in this matchup, Possumorpheus versus Wewbear, will be at 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on Free Enterprise. So hope you all enjoy that. JMac, did you have any final thoughts before we go?
Just to shout out to both of our runners for showing exactly what this community is about, and just showing how much fun we can have even when we're in a very high stakes, very serious tournament race, as well as our restream team. Tonight it is Alicel and John Burkhead, but we can't do it without any and all of our restream teams. And of course, my awesome co-commentator, Rex Rowell. Thank you so much for joining me in the booth tonight.
Yep, and for now, we're going to send you on over to Commander Leonhardt, who's playing Free Enterprise, and hope you all have a great night.
Y'all take care. See you tomorrow. I see no raid button. Oops, there it is. Now we're going. Good night, y'all.